What's the difference between weak hadith and authentic hadith? This is by Shamir. Their sound hadith has 5 conditions. These 5 conditions are determined by reason, and there are some texts of Quran and hadith that would point to it. So, shar'an wa aqlan. Shar'an by text and by common sense. The first thing is that ittisal sanad, which means the chain is complete. The chain of transmission is complete, meaning that from the incident until me, the listener, or when it was written down in the book, the chain is complete of people. There's no absence. There's no link, absent link. I'll give you an example. The masjid is on fire. Who told you? Sulaiman. Was Sulaiman there? No. He wasn't there. So who told him? Dawood. Or let's say, who told him? We don't know. That's the correct example. We don't know who told him. Okay? We don't know who told him. So there's a missing link there, right? But so who is Sulaiman quoting? Sulaiman is quoting Musa. But did he meet Musa? No, he never met him. He's quoting someone he never met? Nah, we're not accepting this, right? We're not accepting this. It's not acceptable. So that's number 1. Mattasala sanadu. All right, next is al-adala. Adala means uprightness. In the summary, we would basically ask the question, would this person be an upright witness in court? Or were they known for public sinning? Okay? Publicly, did they commit sins in public? So we won't accept their testimony for anything, let alone hadith. Okay? So adala is that there is no accusation. Adala is something you have automatically and you could lose it by your public misbehavior. Skipping prayers, eating in Ramadan when you're not allowed to, things like that, basically, or other things, much less than that sometimes. Number 3, dabt. Is he accurate? How do we know if he's accurate? Do we go ask his wife? When you ask him for 5 things in the market, does he come back with all 5? Or did he forget one? No, that's not how we do it. Dabt is determined by we look at all his narrations and we compare them to his colleagues. When Malik would sit, when any scholar, Ishaq ibn Rahaway, all these ulama would sit to give hadith, for their session of hadith, you're not the only student there, right? You're one of 200 students. You're one of 30 students. You're one of 50 students. And the sheikh, that scholar, will have certain known students throughout his life, right? Well, then you come and say something and attribute it to the sheikh. The sheikh said such and such. Where are they going to go to your colleagues? You're not the only student. If you now consistently are different in the narration, we have to downgrade you. There's something's up here. Your dabt is off. You never get it right. You consistently misquote, leave something out, add something out of order. It's never exactly as the sheikh said it. Yes, you're a loyal attendee, you're a loyal student. We don't have any doubts about your behavior, but your memory is not good. It's always something different, right? That you're dabt, you're downgraded. So that's number 3. Now number 4 and 5 are for big exceptions. They're negative. Negative meaning we want the absence of these 2 things. What is the absence? What do we need? We need the absence of shudud. Shudud means you quoted properly, but a senior student said the opposite. Or you quoted a hadith. The hadith is sound in every way, but a senior companion quoted the opposite, something totally different. So we just put a question mark on it and we don't rule by it. Let's say we're 5 guys in the room. We have a sheikh. We have one teacher, all of us. Let's say I'm the oldest of you. And Ali, you're the youngest, right? Ali goes and he's an upright narrator from the teacher. And he narrates a story from the teacher that the teacher has visited South Africa. And I say, the teacher never visited South Africa. That's shudud. So you're upright and honest and your behavior is good and you're narrating something that the senior, the older person, I've been with the sheikh for 20 years. You've been with the sheikh for 2 years, right? That's a problem there. So what do we do with his narration? We put a question mark on it, circle that hadith, and we just don't use it. We don't say he's a liar. We don't say his dabt is wrong. So that's called shudud, when a sound hadith contradicts a higher authority. An older, higher meaning by age and time spent with the sheikh or with the prophet if it's the companions. Number 5, the absence of a hidden error, a very subtle error, which we call illah, that affects the veracity of the hadith. What does that mean? That means even the best expert one day can slip up. And that will only be known by the experts. And we even have like a slip up from Imam Malik by flipping a name. Or he cited, these scholars are citing chains and hadiths all day long, especially in the early days when the chain is only 3-4 names. It's easy to remember. So he may be doing it so much, maybe, who knows, a slip up, he cites one chain with the opposite hadith. Or he cites Abdullah bin Abbas instead of Abdullah bin Umar. Or he cites Sulaiman ibn Dawood and it's actually Dawood ibn Sulaiman. Those little slip up from the expert, and who can cite that? Only another expert. Only another expert can say he made a mistake. Those 5 conditions make a hadith sound and part of our law. Such a hadith can we accept it as law and we can act upon it. We can, not always we do, because a sound hadith is one piece of evidence. There could be other pieces of evidence. There could be analysis of the hadith. Like what? One sound hadith, opposite hadith. How do we make sense of this? The Prophet wore a gold ring. The Prophet forbade gold. Very simply, there's a timeline, right? There's a timeline here. Yes, the Prophet wore gold, sound hadith, but it's abrogated. After the Prophet wore gold, he forbade gold and never wore it again. So there's a timeline here. It's not all two-dimensional. So a hadith may be 100% sound. However, we don't act upon it. What's another one? It's 100% sound, but it lacks any contextualization. So we don't know how to act upon it. So it's muttarib bid-dalala. We don't know how to act upon it, right? It's ahad in its nature. Or even have Umar ibn Khattab saying, in general, I wish the Prophet ﷺ lived more so he could tell us more of the riba in bartering. So we don't know a lot about the riba of bartering. Okay, so those are examples of that. Another example where, let's say Imam Malik, for example, the Prophet, peace be upon him, forbade in a hadith, forbade eating animals with canines. But the Quran says nothing is forbidden except what is in the revelation, the Quran. Okay? Surah Al-An'am, قُلْ لَا أَجِدُ فِيمَا أُوحِيَ إِلَيَّ مُحَرَّمًا إِلَّا عَلَى طَاعِمٍ إِلَّا. So therefore, the usul in the Quran, Surah Al-An'am says, there's nothing forbidden except what is revealed to me in XYZ. Only in the Quran. So therefore, Malik says, okay, well, then the Prophet forbade animals with canines. In other words, meat eaters. Because it's not just the canines, by the way. Squirrel has canines. Squirrel has sharp teeth. It's not just that. It's meat eaters. Malik said he forbade it, meaning discouragement, not for prohibition. It's a big difference, right? Big difference between discouragement and... So you can have a sound hadith, but it's not acted upon. Or it's acted upon differently. Discouragement is different from prohibition, right? So on and so forth. Karaha, yeah, makruh. Yeah. So that's a good question on hadith, and that's a short answer on the nature of the sound hadith. Okay.